Under Kropotkin's scheme of anarchist communism, the entire concept of ownership will be done away with, which is very much at odds with Bakunin's collectivist anarchist thought. Anarchist communism, again, Kropotkin's idea that people will essentially receive the goods based upon their need, very, very very literal interpretation of Marx's dictum, from each according to his ability, to each according to his means, and people will receive exactly at any point in time what it is they require, and whereas Bakunin in his collectivist anarchist means of thought, which while they all agree that the means of production should be public, he does believe that they should be allowed. Well, they should be collectively owned, and Kropotkin believes that there should be no ownership whatsoever. That they should be free to use by whoever is in possession of them at the time. And because Kropotkin proposes that it's very intuitive that it will be in everybody's best interest, and it will be clear to everyone very soon that if we allow those who are temporarily in possession of the various means of production and various public utilities, that it would be in all of our best interest to let them use them temporarily so long as they have need of them, rather than attempting that sort of might makes right scheme of things and taking them by force, because that would put their own possessions in danger, and it would be very much against their own self-interest. We believe ultimately a lack of ownership and essentially a collective understanding of ownership only extends insofar as use. But Bakunin believed that the means of production should be collectively owned, and that for one's labor they should receive exactly what they put in, and that those who contribute less should receive less, and that those who contribute more should receive more. And he thinks that's a more essentially remuneration of labor is his principal distinction from Kropotkin, and believes in the concept of ownership. While Proudhon, in his mutualism, believes that every individual has a right to means of production, and all businesses should be, insofar as they are groups of individuals working together, not an individual himself, without so long as you're not in association with others, that all businesses should function cooperatively, and that it should be a very, very collective process, and that the workers themselves should determine the means of production, obviously. But he doesn't believe in collective ownership, and believes that an individual has a right, to essentially to his own private property, so long as he labors for that property, and in that that property is in fact the result of his actual labor time. And of course, he believes with Bakunin that we should be rewarded insofar as we contribute. And but he does not believe that we should all collectively own the means of production, but rather they should be owned individually, and we should be essentially a collection of private owners who are nonetheless associated for the good of one another, and are in a very egalitarian state with not the state, but the association of all consumers and producers, while private owners will ultimately be for one another's good, and everyone will own their own labor and receive exactly as much as they contribute in labor. And those are the anarchist communistic modes of thought, and in the stateless socialism realm of ideas. And ultimately, what obviously defines them from Leninism and from council communism is that they do not believe in an intermediary stage of a new state. The dictatorship of the proletariat is to them absurd and superfluous and counterintuitive, and is working backwards ultimately And that's really just some of a few ideas and concepts I wanted to lay down and throw out there as to what exactly anarchism and communism mean and their different functions and utilities and utilizations, I should say. And I suppose this could be a little rambling and abstract to anyone who's not overtly familiar with some of the terminology, but I'd at least like to impress upon some how varying and distinct and nuanced the concepts of anarchism and communism indeed are, and that they have innumerable functions and perspectives.